at what point do you collaborate with the other groups? So R&D, clinical affairs, engineering, like at what stage do you collaborate?
From the beginning. From the beginning.
All at once?
So, I mean, you should have a core team. So while marketing or product management is responsible for writing the user needs document, you should never do that in a vacuum where you're not bouncing it off the people who now have to take it into what is the spec that goes with that user need? How are we going to prove that it works? So a couple of my favorite things to do as a product manager. One of them is to write a flowchart of every single step of how this product is going to be used, starting with how do I identify it on the shelf? How do I pull it off the shelf? How do I open it, right? Every single step is an opportunity for something to be done wrong. Every single step is an opportunity to delight your end user. So you're going to need your clinical experts involved in understanding all those steps, all of those techniques, all of the choices, etc. As you write a user need, you may think you're incredibly articulate. You may think it is obvious what you meant. Inevitably, an engineer reading it might have interpreted it differently. So when you're developing a market spec, you start with called a numeric. That's sort of a draft revision you're working on. And then the first time you lock it in that this is the market spec we're working off of, you go to alpha. And alpha means this is sort of a document-controlled, locked-in thing that not just marketing is signed off on, but R&D, clinical, regulatory. We've all agreed to this set of user needs. The very next thing that I like to do is start talking about at the end of product development, how are we going to prove that we actually met these user needs? What does that test look like? Is it a hands-on evaluation? Is it a lab evaluation? Is it a benchtop test? Because when you actually start talking about how am I going to prove it and what's the claim I'm going to make, all of a sudden you start realizing all the places that people misunderstood, right? Oh, you said it needed to be soft. I thought that meant it had to be bendable. It turns out it's actually how hard it pokes, right? A completely different understanding of what the word soft might mean to somebody. So the collaboration should be from day one. And there is nothing worse than having a user needs document or a market spec that feels like a box checking exercise and isn't adding value, or that people disagree with and think, well, I want to work on a different product than what was articulated here. I don't understand why I'm working on this.